Hi everyone, welcome to the review of the Fansproject Crossfire O2SP. Now this is the Explorer, Munitioner and Combat Unit Appendage set from Fansproject, which is the reissue of the previous version which came out a few years ago, and it's basically so that you get it in one single set, and because of the Transformers United re-release of the Energon Bruticus Maximus in Generation 1 colours, we now get this in Generation 1 colours. Some would say that the others were Generation 1 anyway, but this just defines it that little bit better. So the way this is going to work, it's going to be a two-part video. This time I'm going to show you this, and then the next video I'll show you the Bruticus Maximus and the full combiner. So first of all, let's take a look at what you're getting. Well, you've got a nice Generation 1 style box. Yeah, if I can just reach over to get it. And on the back you can see clearly exactly what the kit comes with, and tiny little bios on Explorer and Munitioner. There is more bios in this, the instruction manual. Now, as you can see, they are the old colours of Explorer and Munitioner there. So here we can see, nice image straight away of Bruticus, and here are the full bios. Really nice, gives a really nice detailed story as to how these guys came about, just as most third-party companies do these days. And then we have a bio for the full combiner, and then everything that is inside this package, and then full instructions on the transformations and how to get this guy into the combiner mode. Really detailed, none of that black and white due to copyright or anything like that. It's all there in colour. Very self-explanatory really, reading through it. There's nothing in there that's going to be difficult to understand. And then here is what I will be showing you later in the video of all of the accessories on the United kit. And then you've got the vehicle mode, and then we have the launch base mode, which I'll show off later as well. The Crossfire 1 and 2 sets, and then it says Crossfire 03 with a big question mark. At the moment we obviously know that we're getting a Menacer from Fansproject, but that's not Crossfire, that's actually Causality, so you know, who knows who that could be. Maybe they're making their version of Devastator, which I'd really like, because you've got the Make Toys Green Giant. That's these guys' main competitor really, and that thing's like $600, so I really would not be interested in picking that up. So it'd be really great to get a Fansproject version, you know, with this much detail, because that would just be perfect. But there's the booklet, really detailed. As you can see, it's not thin at all. No comic or anything like that in there, but it's great nonetheless. So now let's take a look at what we have here. Inside, it's in a nice clamshell package. So if I just take the top part off and hold this up, you can clearly see just how nicely everything is displayed in there. Everything's packaged really well. Nothing's loose, and it's all great. So let's start off with getting Explorer out here, who is obviously non-blast-off. And we can see that he's now all this really nice unison brown. Before, we were getting a bit of grey along the back here, but now it is all one colour, so that's really nice. We're also getting a really nice retro style cockpit there, painted on purple, and you have exactly the same as before with everything else really. purple and black on the wings. Same fin there, made of the sword, and underside pretty much the same, and most of that is the robot mode. So you get Explorer, and then here you have Swindle, which is Munitioner, and his cannon that can slot on the top here. Now this guy's got really nice weight to him. He's still quite light, but it does feel a bit more sturdy and have a bit more weight than this guy. This guy's really quite thin plastic, and most of it up here especially is just a shell really. So that's really nice. Lots and lots of paint detail. I do prefer these windows being black compared to the blue before. Still very nice chrome wheels. Well, not chrome but silver, but you get what I mean. Silver on the front and the rear lights. The gun is gunmetal colour, and then on the underside again most of that you'll see on the robot mode. So there's Swindle. Moving on, we have the new head for the bruticus combiner. We have Onslaught's cannons, which will also be the backpack for bruticus. We have the rear section of Onslaught, which will become the feet to bruticus. We have the wrist section with hands inside, and two large shotguns which split apart to make separate machine guns and grenade launchers. We have the anti-material rifle, which can be changed down into a smaller machine gun for Onslaught, but we'll take a look at that in a second as well. And then finally we have some missile pods, which are the new arm connector pieces, which allow for better shoulder articulation. And here they all are. Now the vehicle modes are absolutely fantastic with all these new attachments. As you can see, the main benefit of this is to get a really nice Generation 1 Onslaught. You can see the really nice cannons on top make up for the bad use of the United set. The feet on the back make that length up there, and then you've just got the arms, well, the bruticus hands as missile pods either side, and obviously, as you just saw, it's now big enough to carry blast off. Swindle on the top here can carry any of these the weapons, and does look great with a grenade launcher, but you can't actually put any attachments on blast off. The other Fansproject release where you saw them as slight repaints, he did have sort of little engines on the back sort of things that slot onto the wings. They do not come with this set, so you can't use those, but what does get attachments are these two guys here, Brawl and Vortex. Vortex, as you can see, gets quite a lot. By moving the legs up out of the way, you can get missile pods on there and the grenade launchers. So he's affected quite a lot by this and looks absolutely fantastic. And then Brawl, as if he needs more firepower anyway, gets these submachine guns on top there. So absolutely fantastic, and a great replacement of the slightly tacky weapons that came with these guys' original set. So yeah, that's everything you get there. Now before I do get to the robot modes, I will just show quickly the launch base mode for blast off and onslaught. So put blast off to one side, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take these rear pieces off of onslaught, and these side pieces too, and we are going to slot these back over the top. Then these fit on the side, just like so. So it creates a nice wide little thing there. So we're going to take this waist piece off the back of the gun, and we're going to turn the gun 180 degrees and flick the barrels upwards. There we go. So now you can see that it fits on the waist piece very nicely. But now we have blast off and onslaught put together in the launch base mode, and the waist piece, as you can see, is literally just settled in there. It's not connected to anything, but looks pretty good, and it's just a feature just to add to playability, because it's what the original Generation 1 toy was able to do. So, you know, that's great. It's another feature, it's another mode, it's a display option. You know, that's great. So now, without further ado, let's get on to the robot mode. So here we are now in robot mode, and just look at how great these guys look together. These weapons really do enhance the kit so much. Now, as a little robot mode comparison, here is the Fansproject Breakdown Stunticon, and as you can see, he's just a little bit taller than these guys, and they are the same size, if not just a little bit smaller than Brawl there, but they are the same size as the Vortex mold there. So that's how big they are in robot mode, because on some pictures they are really made to look very, very small, but that's just to reassure you, they do look very good, and they're perfectly in scale, and you're getting great amounts of plastic for your money, so don't worry about size. So before I get onto the articulation and stuff of these guys, I'm just going to go through and show just how much accessories wise you can do to the others. So let's start out with the least affected, and that's Brawl. I've given him the submachine gun there. Let's put it to one side, and then we can get Vortex here, grenade launcher, and he gets his little missile pods there once again on the same pegs on the side. And then there's Onslaught. He gets exactly what he gets when he's in his vehicle mode. Now, a lot of people say that these feet, which turn into his shoulder cannons, are on loose. Now, yeah, they could do with another connector point, but the one connector point at the top of the shoulder just there works perfectly well, I'd say, and I've got no problem whatsoever with them falling off. The anti-material rifle there, as you can see, folded up in the machine gun mode, and he can also hold the big cannons. It does sort of just rest on his arm. You put the peg inside his hand, and then it's just pretty much resting there. But there's not too much problem with that or anything. So I'm just going to move him to the side. And now we're going to get onto the main part of this review, really, looking at articulation and the robot modes of Explorer and Munitioner. So Explorer, his main weapons are the submachine gun and his blade, which is his tail fin, I guess you'd call it, when he's in his shuttle mode, and that really is superb. It can also be a hatchet, but I prefer it as a sword. So let's just take those out of his hands for now. Kibble wise, not too much really. It's just this which sort of sits there on his back, but it's perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong. And the design of that head sculpt is absolutely amazing, and it's exactly the same for Swindle as well. They are incredible head sculpts. Great amount of detail, the silver on his chest there with the purple, and the silver on the feet and the knees. He looks absolutely great. Now articulation, head, ball joint, he's got waist articulation. The arms are also on a ball joint and on a little swivel joint in there due to transformation, so you can get loads of movement out of the arms there. He has a ball joint at the elbow, and the wrists don't move. So that's a lot of articulation in the top body. Then he's got a ball joint at the hip, swivel at the thigh. He does have any articulation, if I can get to bend, there we go. And then the feet are absolutely amazing. They're on a pivot here, which goes pretty far, as you can see. So really wide stances. Well, they're basically on a ball joint. So, but it's not restricted, so you get a hell of a lot there. If you want to have a broken foot, then you can have a broken foot. So that's articulation for him done and dusted. And on to Munitioner. Now this guy is probably my favourite member of the Combaticons. So I'm already a little bit biased as to who of these two I prefer more. But this guy is absolutely incredible. He's got his little pistol, and he's got a grenade launcher. So if I just take that out of his hand. For articulation, same, ball joint head, a ball joint at the shoulder, but he doesn't have the extra bit of swivel, so he doesn't have it as much. Then he has a joint at the elbow, and then he has another joint there just at the forearm. So he's got double jointed elbows, and that one at the forearm is a ball joint. Nothing at the wrist. He's got the waist articulation, and then the same at the thigh and the hip and the knee, and then the foot does not pivot up and down or anything. It's got a heel there, which is needed because of this sort of backpack, which I know it looks quite big compared to the size of the figure, but it's really not much of a problem, especially seeing as you can't even see it from the front anyway, so it's perfect. But the foot does have the sideways pivot. So I'll show you that from a different angle there. It's just the front section of the car just angling. So you're getting loads of articulation, and once again, amazing head sculpt, except I'd say this has more detail and more paint detail, looking even more like the Generation 1 toy of Swindle, with that great purple and blue detailing there on the chest. Really great silver on the arms, and then you're seeing the nice silver headlights as his knees. These guys have a really great design and great packaging. All of the accessories that they come with are, you have to say, pretty perfect in terms of what you would want as part of a bruticus set. Yes, they are a little bit pricey. Now, I pre-ordered them back in January. They're still the same price now, $130, which for me is about, I think it was like £82 or something like that, but just over £8 anyway. And but I would say, as a collector's item, they are absolutely perfect, and I would not pay any more for them, but I was extremely happy to pay that much. But obviously this is not mostly what you're buying the kit for. Mainly you're buying the kit for Bruticus himself, and I will show that off in part 2. But that's it for part 1. If you do want to pick these guys up, I'll put the link in the description for TFsource. They're still $130 at the moment, but you've got to be quick to pick these up because these guys are going to go extremely quickly. For now, that's it guys, so I'll see you in part 2 where we combine these guys and make an amazing bruticus. So I'll see you there guys.